It was a cold and dark night when we arrived at the old, abandoned train station. My friends and I had heard stories about the Hellbound Express, but we never believed them. We were thrill seekers, always looking for the next big adventure. So, when we heard about the midnight train that supposedly carried passengers to an otherworldly realm, we had to check it out. The station was eerie with cracked walls and broken windows. The wind howled through the empty halls, making it sound like the station itself was whispering secrets. "Do you think it's real?" Jenny asked, her voice trembling. "I don't know, but we're about to find out," Mark replied. He was nervous as hell but trying to sound brave. The clock struck midnight and a dense fog rolled in. From the mist, we heard the distant sound of a train whistle. Our hearts pounded as the sound grew louder, echoing through the deserted station. Suddenly, the train appeared, emerging from the fog like a ghostly apparition. It was an old steam locomotive, its black iron frame covered in rust and grime. "Are we really doing this?" Alicia asked, skeptical about the idea. "Yes," I said, my voice steady. "We've come this far. Let's see where it takes us." The train came to a halt in front of us and we stepped inside one by one. The interior was dimly lit, the seats covered in old and worn seat covers. The air smelled musty and an unnatural silence filled the carriage. As soon as we were all inside, the doors slammed shut and the train jolted forward. We were on our way, but to where we had no idea. The train sped through the night, the world outside the windows blurring into darkness. We sat in silence, the weight of our decision sinking in. The only sound was the rhythmic clanking of the train on the tracks. Hours seemed to pass, but the outside remained pitch black. There were no stars, no moon, just an endless void. A feeling of unease settled over us. It felt like we were no longer in the world we knew. Suddenly, the train screeched to a halt, throwing us forward in our seats. The lights flickered and then went out completely. We were plunged into darkness, our breaths coming in short, panicked gasps. "What's happening?" Alicia cried out. "I don't know, but we need to stick together," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. We fumbled for our phones, using their weak light to see. The carriage was empty except for us. The silence was deafening. Then we heard it, a low, guttural growl coming from the end of the carriage. We turned, our phone lights illuminating the source of the sound. Standing there was a figure, its eyes glowing red in the darkness. It was tall and gaunt, its skin pale and stretched tight over its bones. Its mouth was twisted into a gruesome grin, revealing sharp, jagged teeth. "What the hell is that?" Mark blurted. The creature moved towards us, moving with its eyes fixated on us. It let out a blood-curdling scream, the sound piercing through the silence. "Run!" I yelled, grabbing Alicia's hand and pulling her towards the next carriage. We dashed through the carriages, the creature chasing us. Each carriage was the same, dimly lit and empty, the air filled with a sense of dread. We could hear the growls and screams of the creature behind us, getting closer with each passing moment. As we reached the end of last carriage, it was the end of the train, and we did not have any more room for escape. The creature advanced slowly, savoring our fear. "Please don't hurt us," Jenny pleaded, tears streaming down her face. The creature let out a chilling laugh, a sound that echoed through the carriage. It reached out with its long, bony fingers, ready to grab us. Just as it was about to touch Jenny, the train jolted forward again, throwing the creature off balance. The door behind the creature opened, and we took our chance, running into the opposite direction. We didn't stop running until we were several carriages away. We collapsed onto the seats, gasping for breath. Mark stood up, his face set with determination. "We need to find the conductor. Maybe he can help us." We moved cautiously through the carriages, our senses on high alert. Each one was the same, empty and eerie, the silence oppressive. As we reached the front of the train, we found a door marked Conductor. Mark knocked, and to our surprise it opened. The conductor was an old man, his face lined with age and worry. He looked up at us, his eyes filled with sorrow. "You shouldn't be here," he said, his voice weary. "Please help us, we are trapped here. How do we get out of here?" Alicia asked, sounding desperate. The conductor sighed, joining his hands and asking for forgiveness. "I'm afraid there's nothing I can do. This train, it's cursed. It takes souls to the other side, to a place of darkness and despair. There is no escape." We stared at him, disbelief and fear washing over us. The conductor looked at us, his eyes filled with pity. "There is one way, but it's dangerous. You must find the heart of the train and destroy it. Only then can you be free." "Where is it?" Mark asked, his voice determined. "It's in the last carriage," the conductor said. "But be warned, the creature will do everything in its power to stop you." We left the conductor's room, feeling a glimmer of hope. But as we turned around, the creature was there, waiting for us. It lunged at Jenny, its claws sinking into her flesh. She screamed, her eyes wide with terror as the creature dragged her away. "Jenny!" I screamed, but it was too late. The door slammed shut and her screams were cut off, leaving us in horrified silence. We were shaken, the loss of Jenny weighing heavily on us. But we had no choice but to press on. The further we went, the darker the carriages became. We moved quickly, our eyes darting around, anticipating the next attack. We reached another carriage, and the creature was there again. This time it targeted Mark. He fought bravely, but it was no use. The creature overpowered him, tearing into his flesh with a savage ferocity. His screams echoed through the carriage, a chilling reminder of our own impending doom. Alicia and I were the only ones left, and we knew we had to reach the heart of the train before it was too late. As we reached the final carriage, we could feel the darkness growing stronger. The air was thick with an oppressive energy, making it hard to breathe. The carriage door was locked, but we used a metal rod to pry it open. The walls were covered in strange symbols, pulsing with an eerie energy. At the center of the carriage was a large, pulsating heart, its veins spreading out like roots. "This is it," I said, stepping forward. Suddenly the creature appeared. It looked more furious than ever. It lunged at us, its claws slashing through the air. We fought back with all our might, but it was relentless. "Destroy the heart!" I shouted, struggling to hold the creature off. Alicia grabbed a piece of metal and drove it into the heart. The creature let out a deafening scream, its body convulsing in pain. The heart began to wither, slowly turning to ash. But the creature, in its dying throes, managed to grab Alicia. It pulled her towards it, its teeth sinking into her neck. Her screams were cut off as it tore her apart, blood spraying across the carriage. With the heart destroyed, the train began to slow down. The lights flickered back on, and the world outside the windows started to change. I could see stars again, the night sky returning to normal. The train came to a halt at a familiar station. The old station looked different in the light of dawn, no longer eerie but peaceful. Yet deep down, I knew that the Hellbound Express would always be a part of me. I had escaped its clutches, but the memory of that night would haunt me forever. Every time I heard the distant sound of a train whistle, I would remember the darkness, the fear, and the fight for our lives. The Hellbound Express continues its journey, somewhere in the shadows, carrying the lost souls to their eternal night. And if you ever find yourself at an old abandoned station at midnight, beware. You might hear the whistle of the Hellbound Express, and if you do, run and never look back. You never know the danger it might throw at you at the destination. Until then, good night and sweet nightmares.